So I connected with DOBI because of Marisa. I'll share a story about the client later on of how we connected and why we found some best practices in what we do with our move management. And I was fortunate enough to help Simon and Angela in their own personal home to redo their kitchen and some of the kids' areas. So from personal experience, Simon and Angela can share how we've been able to help them. And so I'm just going to go through some of my best practices that we found for home sale preparation and for making the whole move part easier. So, excuse me for 1 second. All right, who's walked in the house and wondered how in the world are we going to get this place on the market? Everybody probably, yep. Yes. Who's heard their sellers say they're very overwhelmed? Okay. And has anybody worked with a move manager before? Great. Oh, okay. Yep. There's a reason why. And has anyone worked with a home organizer to get a home ready for listing? Okay. And has anyone worked with adult children whose parents have gone into assisted living or passed away and now they're in charge of getting rid of the family home? Probably most of you. Okay, so we're going to talk about some examples, some things that we have learned of making that whole process easier for the family involved in getting rid of or selling the home. A little bit about me and my company. I started this business about 12 years ago as a hobby. I was in corporate America, went to stay at home with my kids, and realized after about a year of that I really needed something for my own identity, and I loved working when I was in the workforce, and I love organizing. So came up with the idea to turn my hobby into a business, and just started talking to friends. If you need some organizing in your home, I can help you out. Just a little bit here and there. My son was in preschool. And then about 7 years ago, I had a friend reach out to me who was in a 5,000 square foot home in Northville. She was downsizing by half to San Francisco with a family of 5 and paying for the move by herself. And she said, and her husband was already in San Francisco. And she said, I can't do this by myself. Will you please come in and help me? So we went through her house, room by room, purged so much, and she was so grateful. We staged the home as well. And it opened my eyes to the world of real estate and how much help people need when they go through this process. So I started to network with realtors that I knew and were friends of mine. Hey, I can help you if you need a little help decluttering. And now I have a team of 9 of us. We've grown a lot, obviously, in the past 7 years with adding on real estate to our portfolio of services. And so we've seen a lot, as you all have. And we've learned a lot. And I'm very grateful for what we're able to provide to your clients and our clients, because it really does at the end of the day make their lives easier. So we have experience in home organizing, staging, and move management. We'll cover all 3 of those areas. So why it's important for you to look at hiring a home organizer to help with getting the home ready for listing, it keeps you neutral. Who's had to walk in and give them the bad news of the things that aren't really attractive in the home, that could use enhancing, and they've had pushback from their sellers, and it's just had a hard conversation? Who's experienced that? Probably most of you. It's not easy. So we found that agents like using a home organizer or move manager to help have that communication with the seller, to give them the recommendations that the buyers are thinking that they're walking through the home, and you know these things as you're showing homes, but they may not go ahead and go back to the selling agent and say, here's all the nitpicky things that are really just not making the home attractive to us. So those are the discussions that we have with the clients and the sellers as we give them the recommendations to get the home ready for listing. We want you to focus on your marketing, all the wonderful things that you do, all the special services that you offer to your clients, and then let the professionals do what we're great at too. Listing prep, so important. It helps put the home in the best light. Good staging draws in the buyers. Y'all know great photos help so much in getting buyers in and interested for showings. And then going through the listing preparation just helps them get things ahead of the game for the moving process. So I'm sure you've gone through situations where clients have a moving truck showing up today and they're not ready. And they've had months and months and months, but they're dragging their feet. And they haven't had anybody to encourage them. They have had just different things come up in life, and they just can't tackle the project. So I'm going to discuss some of the ways that using a move manager and helping them to make all the things tightened up before moving day, just to make everything a lot easier. Who provides their sellers with a checklist, a listing checklist? Okay, really important. People are visual. They want to have things in writing. There's probably some other type A's in the room that likes to scratch things off and check off the to-do list. And for clients who haven't sold their home in 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, this is so important. They have no idea what it really means to go through the showing process. They may not understand how picky buyers can be. And so getting everything looking right in the home through recommendations on paint colors, carpet cleaning the vents at the top of the return air vents, because those are things that we look at too, that living in a home, you get numb to it. You don't pay attention to it. But a buyer sees things. And when a buyer sees that a home is cluttered, they're going to think it's dirty. And when they see dirt, they have concerns about other things in the home. So we like to provide our clients with a specific rundown of recommendations specific to their property. And then we also provide general listing recommendations. Things like changing the light bulbs, making sure all the light bulbs work, removing the garbage cans for showings and photos. Bless you. I recommend removing the small bathroom rugs and all the small rugs. It makes the room look bigger, and also it prevents a tripping hazard. I have tripped going through a home because there's little rugs going around. And y'all know walking through booties, it's not exactly the easiest thing. So we want to make it an enhanced look of the room, as well as we want to make sure it's a safe environment for the buyers to walk through. So in our general listing recommendations, these are also things of making sure the toilets are closed and making sure the garbage cans are out and clearing the counters, all personal things which I'll get to in a little bit. We do recommend taking down as well. Who provides a vendor list? Okay, we really think it's important to help sellers mitigate having to go look for 14 other options, put it all in one list together. I do have some agents I work with that provide their own vendor list, their carpet cleaner, their movers. There's a litany of things that y'all know go along with home improvement and getting them out the door into their next property. And so we work with our clients as well on putting all of those details in one report for them, and then it's one less thing that they have to do, and they can focus on getting the home ready for listing and in trying to keep life as normal as possible. So I get asked a lot about upgrades. I refer back to you. That's your specialty. What they're going to get on the return of a bathroom enhancement, of countertop upgrades, I refer back to the agent on that. Who's moved in the past year? Okay. Was it overwhelming, or were you okay?
It was overwhelming.
Yeah.
So many different states.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cross-country move. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So my recommendations are start as early as you can. Have your sellers start as early as they can. And you might get a notice that they're going to move in 6 months, and you might get, I'm listing my house next week. We get both scenarios. And so when we have more time, it's always the best. It's always a really great thing to mitigate the stress between the seller and all the things that they have to do in normal life. My recommendation that I found when they're getting ready for listing is to go room by room. Start in the storage room, declutter the storage room, go through things that you're definitely not going to use, get those either out of the house through donation, or go ahead and pack them up and get those out of the way so that you can have room for other things in parts of the home to be brought down to declutter the other rooms. So we start in storage rooms and garages, because I'm a real big fan of using the real estate you already own as storage versus having to go out and get a storage unit. Who has gone through home organizing themselves and tried to get their home organized lately? It's a lot, isn't it? It's challenging. You have to make all these decisions. You have to think about the things you love and you're going to use, and going through a home selling process. And we know that sellers go through home selling for all different reasons. They're going to upgrade a home because they're having a baby. They are going through a divorce. They've lost a loved one and they're moving into senior living. there's a litany of reasons of why people move. And so we really help our clients with the mental and emotional part of this. And sometimes they don't have any family around. They don't. No kids. No kids, nobody to help them at all. And so if you're able to have a home organizer come in with them and to help go through their items, it helps take off that mental challenge, and then as well as the physical part of it too. I'm gonna get some water real quick, excuse me. Sorry. Who loves organizing in this room? Who would rather watch paint dry? So why is decluttering important? We all know that buyers look through cabinets. We know that they open the closets. We know that they look through every part of the home because they want to imagine themselves living there. And so I get the question asked a lot, well, do I really need to clean out the junk drawer? You're going to have to clean it out anyways to move. And so I recommend you go ahead, let's get this cleaned up so that as the buyers are walking through, they do see a nice organized space, and it makes them as interested as possible in the home. Doing the decluttering process as they're getting ready for listing just helps them get a start on packing and helps the move go easier. It also, when a home organizer works with your client to get the home ready for listing, it helps them from being distracted. We all know what this little thing does to our lives. It distracts us. So in the middle of working on a drawer or something, or cleaning out your closet, and all of a sudden you get a call, boom, you're gone, and you don't return. And that happens so much with our clients. So when we work with them, we're concentrated on those areas, those specific areas. Where do they exactly want help? Where have you told us, hey, I really want you to really focus on this room. Like they really need to get the primary bedroom closet cleaned out. I really want to take some really great photos. And so in working with a home organizer in these certain rooms, you're able to keep them on track. Even when you work with someone versus your own self to get rid of things, you tend to get rid of more. It's a pretty amazing psychology behind this. When you're able to talk about something and bounce the idea of, hey, do you like this? Or I have 14 spatulas. Okay, do you cook every day? Nope, I really order DoorDash most of the time. Okay, well, let's pare it down to about 2. And then that's just less that you have to take on the moving day as well. As we're doing this decluttering, we want to imagine the buyer living in the home and that they can have their own items in there as well. And you paid for a move lately. You know it's not cheap. And so as much as you can pare down before you move, then that just helps the cost at the end of the day. I'm going to talk a little bit more about moving cost and difference between local and long distance too in a little bit. Dedicate the specific time to do this. I have agents that say, Stephanie, I'm going to hire you and your company to work with my client on Saturday from 12 to 3 because that's the only time it's available for them. But I know that if they have your help, they're going to get this done. It's going to give them a jump start on it. You're probably getting some pushback sometimes of clients who say, I'm just not ready to sell because I can't get through the clutter. I just can't. I'm too overwhelmed. I can't get through it. Well, let's set a date. Let's have someone come in and help you. And then it goes ahead and gets the process rolling. So again, talking about that, the people who like to cross off the list and go through things, I recommend room by room. So start in the storage room, then go to the bedroom, get that decluttered and that cleaned up. Then go to the office or wherever else is best. If you popcorn all over the house, you have a real hard time of getting a sense of getting it done. And so if you're able to just focus on one room at a time, then you get a feeling of accomplishment. And a lot of times as we go through our process with our clients, they say, well, now I don't want to sell my house. This looks so good. Like, no, they're having photos tomorrow. They're going to sell this place. But that's how much better that the clients feel about their home. And then we encourage them, this is what it can look like on the other side. We can help you get this unpacked and organized. And now you've decluttered so much, you don't have as much to move. So who's heard, I'm saving this stuff here in the garage for my daughter? Who has that stuff in their garage for their daughter right now? We hear it all the time. Oh yeah, my nephew, he's coming to pick it up. When? Well, he was supposed to be here 2 weeks ago. So I'm really big on giving them deadlines. And I encourage you as well with your sellers. Okay, we really need this out of the home. Like the piano that your niece is gonna come pick up, it needs to be gone by March 30th. So deadlines are really crucial in helping to encourage them to get things out of the home. We're really big on donation pickups that come to the home. We really like, I'm going to go first through the miscellaneous ones. Purple Heart, Vietnam Vets, and Habitat for Humanity. Habitat will take home-related items for home improvement, and then they use them in their homes. They also sell them at the Restore, and then all that money goes back to Habitat for Humanity. We're really big fans of using Purple Heart and Vietnam Vets because it gives the client a deadline of when they're coming. Oh, I'll just run it to Salvation Army. You're already busy. You already have a lot going on. So if we're going to be working with the client on Wednesday, we try to schedule a donation pickup for Thursday or Friday. And if they have a lot to go through, which we know a lot of sellers do, it's an every week pickup. And even if we're there or not working with them, the pickup is still happening, and they know that the goal is to fill as many bags as they can for that donation truck to pick up. So these furniture resources, has anybody used these that I have listed on here? Furniture Bank or Grace Center for Hope? Nope? Okay, wonderful donation sources here. And they're all based out of Oakland County, except for the H into home. So each of these places have lists on their websites that show what they will take. Because I know y'all have run into it where the dining room hutch, they say, I'm just going to leave that for the buyer. No, you can't. I have this discussion all the time with people. I'm just going to leave this for the buyer. No, unless the buyer specifically states that they would like to have this item, do not assume they want anything of yours. Furniture Bank specifically, they will take necessity items, which would be a mattress that's in good condition, no spots, no stains, no tears. They'll take dressers, couches, dining room tables, those type of things at no charge. They'll come to the home for no charge, and they'll pick them up from the garage. If they have to come in the home, they'll charge anywhere between $50 and $100. So it's a really great way that the client can go ahead and get rid of some donation items, not have to go take it somewhere, not have to worry about selling it, because it is hard to sell furniture. And we know that they're going to a 501c3 who's able to provide it to families in need. They will also take kitchen items. Usually each of these charities will take about 5 boxes of kitchen-related items. They do not take clothes, though. So the other sources, pickup sources, they'll take clothes. There's also another clothing source called the Foster Closet of Oakland County, and they'll take clothes to give them to kids in foster care. Anybody have any other donation sources that they really like that are near and dear to the heart that I haven't listed on here?
In parking lots, there's those big orange bins where you drop off some of your clothes and stuff like that.
Yes. Yes, we've used those too.
Overflowing, right?
They are, and sometimes they'll pull them in the winter.
Yeah.
Ennis Children's Center is a good one too for like clothing and things like that.
Will you send me a text about that, please?
I will.
Okay,
Definitely.
great, great. Anybody else have any other good furniture or just general donation centers? We also have sent things to St. Vincent de Paul. We just had a client about a month ago that she was a big art collector, art supply collector, crafter. And there's a place called Arts and Scraps in Detroit, and they will take any art-related items and then give them to schools in need across the city. So that's another resource too. So we run at wedding dresses. We get a lot of things about wedding dresses, and there's different charities that will take wedding dresses for cancer patients. I donated mine to a military philanthropy that helps brides get a wedding together really quick as their spouse is getting ready to head overseas. So we've ran into situations where they've been holding on their wedding dress for 50 years. And it may not be in the best condition, but we still try to donate it because maybe they can use something off of that wedding dress as another item to repurpose it versus it just going in the trash. So we run into a nice situation sometimes where the client has already purchased their new property, and the current house we're trying to sell is full of a lot of items. So we'll do move A with the things that we would rather not have in the home for showings. We go through, mark everything with blue tape. We help them hire the mover if need be. The mover then will take items on over to property B, and then we can use what's remaining to stage property A. As I said before, we know that buyers look in every place. And so we really encourage every single part of the home to be gone through as much as possible if they have time. And one of my best practices for organizing, in my closet, I have a donation bag just sitting on the floor all the time. Because you start to look at that shirt that you're passing by all the time, you're like, okay, I have not worn this in a good year. But then you're like, well, what do I do with it? Where do I go take it? So if you have a bag just in the bottom of your floor, and then once that fills up, then you arrange for a donation pickup or drop it in one of the parking lot bins. And so that's just if you're not moving, that's a best practice that I've developed. And then as we're working with our clients to sort through items, we have the toss pile, straight up trash and garbage, and we do hire in junk haulers if need be. And then we have our donate pile, and then we reorganize what we're going to keep, or we go ahead and box it up and put it in storage if they don't need it in a temporary time frame. Why stage a home? Who's hired a professional stager to stage their homes? Okay, just a small majority. Just a small percentage. So I'm going to talk about a couple different ways of staging. We're in a different market now, as we all know, and 18 months ago wasn't as important. Now it is. It's very important. And so we have some statistics that we'll talk about of buyers and their willingness to spend some money now on staged homes. I've had a couple of clients we've worked through decluttering and getting the things out of the home, and then it's become vacant. And I've recommended to the realtors now, let's go ahead and stage the property with full furniture. And we would recommend dining areas, family rooms, primary bedroom, and then maybe if they have a small basement space. And then that usually costs in about like for example, the one we did was about 2,000 square foot home, it's about $2,000. We have another home in Farmington Hills that they're having, and we don't do full home staging. We just do occupied staging, which I'll talk about in a minute. But we had a home in Farmington Hills, about 3,000 square feet. They ended up staging about that amount of rooms I just mentioned, and it's about $3,000. And the seller realized, yes, it's a dated home, but if I have updated furniture in it, it's going to hopefully sell a lot easier. So it hasn't gone to market yet, so I can't give you any statistics of how well that home sold for. But we're in a different market than we were 18 months ago, where you could have sold a vacant property, no questions about it. Just some more statistics on staging, and that it can bring in more money to the sell price. So a lot of people say, well, I can just say it's a blank canvas. They can just imagine. Buyers can't imagine. They have a really hard time. I know you've tried to talk your clients through, well, yes, you can put the couch here, you can do this, you can do that. But even through virtual staging, which do y'all do virtual staging? Anybody use that in their listings? Okay, we have some agents that have been doing it more and more. Yeah, do you find it's helpful to do the virtual staging? What's your experience been?
If they don't want to spend the money, it's great. But it doesn't, the buyer experience is still the same. So we get them in, but like you said, right? They can't vision after when they walk in. They start questioning themselves. Will my furniture fit? Will my table fit? All that kind of stuff. Will it look right in here?
What's the average cost of doing the virtual staging? Just out of curiosity.
It's not much. It's like $30 a room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
again, just having something in the home, even if we had a small condo in Canton that the agent just wanted a dining room setup done and white towels, some greenery, that's all we've done in the home. That's all they wanted. So there's ways that you can still just add in a little bit so someone can imagine something in the home. No clutter, so important, no clutter. Even in closets, I recommend take everything off the floor of the closet, even if you have everything up, so that they can just see some open space in the closet. No family photos, religious symbols, or other personal items. So we want the buyers to imagine themselves living there. Religious symbols is a fine line we have to walk because there's certain religions that need prayer rooms and they still would like their items out. And so we talk through what's the best way that we can still have these available for you to use on a daily basis, but maybe minimize it in a way. And so we want to be respectful of the seller still living there on a daily basis, but also respectful to neutralizing the home as well for all potential buyers. I say other personal items, and I'm going to put political things in this category. So I recommend hiding anything politically, especially in an election year. Even books related to politics by a certain author that might be. It's just one less thing that the buyer, because people get real finicky. Y'all know this. They get real hung up on something if they see it at home, just because they might see it in there. So let's just neutralize it. Let's just not even bring that discussion up. So in staging too, just focus on key rooms, like I mentioned, to have the family room staged, eating area, primary bedroom, and maybe a kid's playroom or an office. So just a few points on why staging is important. We're in a buyer's market right now, and so we want to make it look as attractive as possible. A couple of other points just to highlight some of the areas that may look really great in the room, especially in a large bedroom, and there might be a small sitting room. People have a hard time imagining how is all the furniture going to fit. There's so much extra space in here. So even if that's staged with a bedroom set up and then a small sitting area, it just helps the buyer imagine the home furnished and them living there. So we work through occupied staging, and we found that to be really successful. Has anybody done this with their own? Anybody here have their own staging inventory? No? Okay, I work with some agents who just have some artwork and things on hand. You do? Okay, so we work through occupied staging. We find it, as 7 years I've been doing real estate related organizing with my business, that we have been able to, I would say 99% of the homes, just use what they have already through decluttering, moving this couch to this room instead, let's take out this rocking chair, move this around, just doing some furniture and adjustments is really all they need just to thin things out. We do recommend neutral color bedding, white towels, greenery in the bathrooms, even a little pop of greenery on the bathroom does make a difference. And we do artwork, recommend artwork, and also even just a fresh, new front doormat. That's the first thing that I look at when I walk up to the house. How does the doormat look? That's your first impression. You're standing there, and if it's covered with dog hair, what are you gonna think as you're standing there on the porch about to walk in, right? So here's some before and afters. This is actually a home in Birmingham. And on the left, I'm kind of close up, but I'm standing at the door of this room, and it was a kid's playroom, but they had a lot of toys. And so what we did is we took that middle unit, we moved it to the side. The client did want a new desk anyways for her new home, so we went ahead and helped her purchase a new desk and a new chair and the artwork piece. Those two white chairs came from another room in the home, and we moved those into this room, and you can see the difference of how much better it looks. Same thing in here, just moving some artwork around, taking the bookcase out, adding in some greenery, and even taking out the rug underneath the coffee table. I'm not really a big fan of, I call it rugs on rugs. So I know y'all see it a lot. I'm just not a fan. I think it looks, again, the room looks bigger once you take that area rug out. I like them on hardwoods. I think that they can enhance the hardwoods. But I really recommend as much as we can, if there's no stains and spots, because we know that happens, or there's no fading on the carpet from the area rug being there for years, let's go ahead and pull that up. Closets, especially a really nice custom walk-in closet. You can see just zhuzhing it up, getting things folded and organized, how much better it looks. And this home, reds are a kind of a particular color. So I try to pull them out of the home as much as possible. So in here, we neutralized the whole room. We added some more pillows, added some artwork on the other side of the room, and it just turned into be a beautiful room. I'm going to talk about move management. And has anybody heard of a move manager? Okay, great. So my company is a part of an organization called NASM, National Association of Senior and Specialty Move Managers, and we are a network of small businesses that help people with the moving transition. So we work with a lot of seniors. We work with people who are moving from one state to another. We may work with adult child. I got a call from adult child in Maryland last week who found me through NASM. His mom is here. He wants to move her there. And so we as a move manager here can help her with the whole listing, prep, and moving process. And then I can find a move manager in Maryland for them to help her unpack and get organized on the other side. As a realtor, you can become a member of NASM as well. And so if anybody is looking to get more involved in senior real estate, this is a really great organization to look at being a member of. I found out about it through a realtor who is in NASM. And we have gotten multiple jobs off of NASM. So in talking about downsizing for a move, who's had an estate sale for their client? So as we're looking through how much they have left in the home, is it enough for an estate sale? So estate sales need usually a minimum of about $3,000, depending on the estate sale. You're the queen. If anybody needs a reference on it, yeah, ask Natalie. So we work with certain estate sale companies to purge out what is not going to sell in the sale. There's a lot of tchotchkes, there's a lot of junk, there's a lot of just stuff that's not going to sell, even personal items. For example, we have a home we're in this week. We will be there by the end of Friday, 110 hours, just getting it ready for the estate sale. Mom was a hoarder, and her son kept saying, "Mom, you got to get this place cleaned up. You got to get it cleaned up. You're going to have an accident. You're going to have an accident. Someone's going to have a problem." She fell down the stairs and broke her neck and didn't survive. So, yeah, sorry, sorry, but this is the reality of how clutter can really, clutter can really affect your lives in a big way. So we are now going through room by room, pulling out all of his personal things that he wants to keep in the long run. Sorry, I didn't mean to go so dark. Don't let your parents become hoarders, okay? But even in this house that we're helping to prepare for the estate sale, so far we've found $16,000 in cash, just in random bank envelopes that Mom had stashed here and there. Yep. Books, purses, wallets. We just have found the envelopes just underneath the beds. So there's all kinds of, what's that?
And freezers.
Freezers. Oh, okay. Yeah, we haven't found that one yet. So we help to get the home ready for the estate sale, and we help them pull out all the personal items to go through and get the things out that they may want, as well as go ahead and get the trash out. We'll fill up a whole dumpster there this week. And then we pull out as much as we can for donations and then leave what's remaining for the estate sale. So hoarder cleanouts, this is one example I'm talking about where they have gathered too many things. Now, we deal with hoarders of all different price levels, multi-million-dollar homes down to $200,000 homes. Hoarders happen at all price levels. And so if there's a situation where the family can recoup some of the cost of getting the things out versus just paying a junk hauler to come in and get it all out. I had an agent a few months ago say, "I think my seller just wants to have a junk hauler come in and get it all out. They don't really want to deal with it." I said, "No, they've really got some good stuff. Let's see if we can have a estate sale." They ended up selling $50,000 last week in the estate sale. They sold 2 Porsches and then a litany of things in the home. So yeah, there can be a lot of value in estate sales. What's that? They needed, they had 3 on the property. They had 3 on the property. Yeah. So why recommend a senior move manager? I'll give you a really good example of a lady named Karen that we just moved into All Seasons yesterday. Karen's 83 years old. She has no children. She has no family in the area. Her husband passed away 2 years ago. She's completely on her own. And when we started working with her about 6 weeks ago, we noted some cognitive decline. She's basically been in the home by herself now for 2 years and really hasn't seen many people. And that's really slowed down her mental capacity. So the realtor called us in. She's going to need help going through things. We need to get her to All Seasons as quick as we can. So we have been on full throttle, full speed, getting her packed up room by room and moved her in yesterday. Here's some of the things that you don't even realize that go on with people as they're going through this transition. She lives up on Woodward and Long Lake Road. This is a 4,000 square foot home. So she has money. She had no food in the pantry. She had a can of beans one day when we were there and nothing in the fridge. So my team helped her order groceries and get some food for the night. They have helped her shop. They went to Macy's yesterday. One of them took her to Macy's to shop for bedding and to get towels for her new room at All Seasons. And the other one of my team was doing our moving concierge service at the home with the moving truck so that she could get out of the home. She's not stressed out by what's going on. And then we handled the whole moving part for her. So our seniors are really important to us, and we hold their hands. This morning when I saw one of my employees back at her home, it's been a long 3 days for one of my employees working with her. She's worked 9 hours a day with her. And I walk in, I said, Lisa, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much. We hugged each other. And she started crying. She said, Stephanie, I feel so bad. Karen has nobody. She has nobody. And there's no way she could have done this move without a move manager. So if you run in those situations, they don't, even we've worked with husband and wife who are together here, and they just need help. They physically can't do things. There are move managers all across the country that even if you're having a client that's moving here to be closer to mom and dad, to their son, mom and dad moving out here, they can help them somewhere else, get everything ready. I am going to send y'all in a follow-up email this marketing piece. If you'd like to use it, you're welcome to in your listing items. And this is really for anybody, not so much seniors. This is the top 10 tips to downsize and de-stress your move. You're welcome to use this, okay? So, hiring the right mover. Who's had a bad moving experience? Okay. So we have found some really great movers because of our experiences with good movers and not so good movers. And we recommend certain movers based off if they're just doing a local move here in the Detroit area. And we recommend certain moves if they're doing cross country and even international. We've worked with families that are moving to China before. So hiring the right mover just depends on what their budget is and what they're looking to get help with. Some people will do a partial move themselves and they want help with the other things. And then some clients want full service. They don't want to touch anything, they don't want to do anything. So Marisa, this is where you and I get involved. Independent storage versus moving company storage. Marisa and I, so we had a client and he was in Florida and selling his home here in Birmingham, and he didn't want to come back. He didn't want to do anything with the move. So no problem, we'll take care of it for you. Well, he hired his own moving company, and he hired his own storage unit. He was just using a public storage unit because he didn't know when he was going to buy another home, but wanted to keep everything. So we were there for moving day. We did our moving concierge services, moved everything into public storage. About 6 months later, he found a home, and we hired another mover to pick up things from public storage and move it to his new home. Things were damaged. We don't know if company A did it or company B did it. And they were pointing fingers, company A and company B. So I don't recommend that type of storage anymore. If they're doing a 2-part move, I always recommend now that it goes into the moving company's storage, climate controlled storage. It's about the same cost as putting into a public storage type unit. And it's all controlled and climate controlled in there. There is one small downside of it though. You can't access it once it goes into there. So in many cases we've had clients that are building a home and they'll have portion A over here that they're going to move to the new home, but then they have portion B. Let's send portion B onto the storage unit because you do not need that for the next 6 months while the home's finishing up. So these are the type of conversations that we have with your sellers. What's your moving plan? What are you doing? How are you getting there? You need to get this to here, this to there. These are all the things that we can help them coordinate. As we talked about before, is preparing for estate sale, helping seniors transition, whether it is into senior living or it is just into a smaller property. Has anybody heard of a senior placement specialist? Does anybody work with one? Okay, so they're called senior placement specialists. So say you have a client that is looking to move into senior living. I can put, and if you ever need one, feel free to reach out to me and I'll refer you to one. They're no charge to the client, and they will take them around to different communities in the area to find the one that's the best fit for them. Everybody has different needs, whether they need independent living, they need assisted, they need memory care, are they going to have a car, do they need someone to go grocery shopping for them? There's all kinds of services that are offered through senior living, and if you have no idea what any of those terms mean, then hiring or working with a senior placement specialist is super important. They get a referral fee back from the senior community as they're placed there, and the senior decides, yes, I'm going to move into here. But the client doesn't have to pay anything. So this is really helpful too for adult kids who are out of town, but they're trying to help mom and dad find somewhere, but they can't make trips back into town constantly to take mom and dad to find communities. So if you ever run into that, please reach out, or you can Google senior placement specialist. There's a lot of them in the Detroit area. Packing best practices. We do help our clients move and pack. There's certain things I recommend that the moving company packs, large artwork. There's certain things that clients just like to pack on their own. And so we recommend using packing paper. Bubble wrap is expensive. Some people still like to use it, but just packing paper, craft paper is what moving companies use and what we prefer to use in our packing as well. And then unpacking and organizing, that's a whole nother ballgame too. We can get out of the home, we can get everything packed up, but then you got to unpack it. And as you know, you've just been through a move. It's a lot. It's a big process. And so being able to help your client make the transition in their new home, whether they're just buying a property too, they're not even selling one, first-time home buyer, and they're unpacking and trying to get organized, and they've just had a 6-month-old and they have no time to unpack. Having a home organizer come in and help them to get everything unpacked and organized can be really helpful. So that is the summary of best practices. I've left some time for question and answers, discussion. So what kind of questions or scenarios? Anybody running into something right now where they're kind of stuck and don't know what to do?
I just thought I'd share my scenario with you, and just how much you impacted my client and how hard it was at first with her.
Yes.
This lady literally hated me for sending Stephanie to her house. She was a hoarder. She had this little bungalow in downtown Plymouth. It's about 900 square feet, but literally packed to the ceiling with fish tanks, just so much stuff everywhere. To the point where you couldn't even walk in the front door. That's how bad it was. And she loved all of her stuff so much that it was almost like an episode of Hoarders where it was the emotions just were spewing out. After Stephanie left, she called me to tell me how I ruined her life, and that she told me, she was like, I regret the day that I worked with you, and you ruined everything.
The story gets better, okay?
And I was like, well, all right. Obviously, being the person I am, I took that to heart, and I was really upset about that for a while. But the greatest part about it was she moved. She got into her new house, and she kept it clean. And she liked the way that Stephanie put together her house so much, and even her kids had ADHD and a lot of other issues, and she was like, I don't know what it is with a clean space, but wow, it made such a difference in my house, and I'm so grateful for you. And this was 2 months after she moved into the new place. She was so happy. She was like, it's a new lifestyle that I didn't even know about until you did that for me. And so I
Thank you for sharing.
For the hardship, I know
Thank
that's
you.
not easy with her and her whole family, but she did it. And she did such an amazing job with them. The house looked like a whole new house. If we could just get rid of this fish smell.
I'm not an expert at that, but yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it's
It's a life changer.
people get paralysis because of clutter, big time, and it can affect health. There's many studies on this. Can help health, mental health, as well as physical health. We see a change in our clients when we work with them. They brighten up. They're light. They're literally lighter. I helped a client with on Monday with a kitchen clean out, and we had 11 bags. I'm like, look how much weight you just lost. You just got rid of all this. Look at this. And so just taking all those extra things out of your life and making it easier, it's invaluable. It really is. And it's great that she's kept it up. It's so,
Happy to do
yeah.
that myself. I was like, because I knew how much she loved her stuff, and she was like, I even before I buy something, I really think about if I really need it or not. And I guess you taught her that if she got new stuff, she has to purge stuff, and she's been doing that. Just that's so cool. So yeah, just a cool story.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So I'll forever love Stephanie.
Thank you.
When someone asks about costs, what do you generally tell them? Because I know that for each house there's probably different needs, or each client there's different needs. What is a general what ballpark ranges, what do you tell a client that is sort of cost conscious?
What do you want us to tell them?
It can take anywhere from a minimum of 3 hours, which our sessions are 3 hours. And as we're done with the Con Ed portion, I can talk about my company specific when we're done with like Con Ed, so I'll give like pricing and all that specifics. But I get this question all the time. What's a typical? Well, so I say we done as little as 3 hours, and we done as many as 150 hours. Okay? Because everybody's house is different. Everybody has a different amount of stuff, and everybody has a different amount of need as well. So
Okay. It just depends on.
just
whatever that might
depends.
be.
It just depends.
Gotcha.
How much organizing can you really get done? Like, how many rooms can you get done in 3 hours?
Depends on how much stuff they have and how much we're working with the client. If they slow us down.
Right.
So, I mean, if we know our game plan of what we're going to go and do and stage it, declutter stage, and boom, 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 we can knock it out. We move a lot faster than they do. Leah, we've done a job together. You know what I'm talking about. Yes, and because the sellers want to talk about things, they want to go through it. Everybody has their own process of eliminating things in their life and how much they need to talk about it. Some people are like, nope, done, 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 done. I just need someone here to guide me, like just make me do it. Some people want to talk about everything. Like, oh, 2 weeks ago, a woman had been married 45 years and she still had her RSVPs from her wedding in her closet. So she still wanted to talk about all the RSVPs and go through everything. And yeah, and every pair of shoes she was getting rid of and why she liked these shoes. And so that's why I say it could be 3 hours, but that one closet could also end up taking 30 because she wants to talk about everything. And we understand this is a major emotional process. And we want to give our clients the time that they need, but we're also there. Come on, like we got to get things done in a way. But we have to be sensitive about it.
Stephanie, do they still do tax write-offs like they used to with the donating furniture to these places that you, okay.
They do, and I don't know all the specific like levels and how much per year, but all the ones that I mentioned are all 501c3s. And so yes, they do leave receipts and you can get tax write-offs. Mm-hmm.
I have another just comment. I know there's so, and you kind of reiterated this, but like for me, I had this listing where I'm like, oh man, I don't want to be the bad guy and like say there's so much clutter and there's a bunch of stuff that needs to be moved up. And I guess in Amber's situation and in my situation, poor stuff has to be the bad guy, but it takes. I mean, you can focus on selling and she can focus on like the decluttering portion, and it kind of just allows you to have a good relationship with, from an agent to a seller perspective. Sometimes that does help, and it's like, hey, I want to leave it up to the professional who does decluttering like on a day-to-day basis, and she's super helpful and she'll help guide you through the prep phase to the moving phase. And my job is to focus on marketing and selling and like pricing it accordingly. And I think it's just expressing that like good partnership makes it a better relationship with your seller when you're dealing with a house that needs a lot of decluttering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, even if they just need a little decluttering, but they don't know what to do about the whole move management process, it can be a lot. And I mentioned just briefly, but I'll go back on it real quick, our moving concierge services, and that's a part of being a move manager. Some people haven't moved in 50 years. They have no idea what's going to happen the day the moving truck rolls up. And you probably don't have time to be there. You probably should be go getting some more listings is what you should be doing. So we can be there with the movers. We know the lingo, how to talk to them. We know when they're not moving as quick as they should, and we'll get them to move quicker. And the seller who may not have moved in 30 or 40 years doesn't really know how that process should work. And we're conscious of our client who's paying by the hour. These guys got to go. Come on, let's go. So we had a house back in the summer where the guys had taken 2 breaks before lunchtime even. And I called the rep and I said, I don't know what's going on with these guys, but this is unacceptable. They got here at 10 and they've taken 2 breaks by 12:30. No, this is not happening. So they credited my client back for that time that they were sitting. So those are the type of things that we can be an advocate for the client with too. Any other questions or tricky situations you've run into, or, yeah?
Do you have a list of your vendors, the moving vendors?
I do, yes. Yes, it just depends on, again, where they're going and what they're doing. So I have agents call me all the time if I haven't worked, like, say you don't need, say you, like the house is pristine, you don't need us, just you can call me and ask for a moving referral.
Okay.
And it depends on where they're going. And so I'll take a minute to talk about Tidy Smart and what we do. I will send y'all an email with this best practices, and I can also send the pricing and the services I'm about to talk about in an email as well. So we charge by the hour because, as I said before, everybody needs a different level of time and processing. We charge $65 per hour per organizer. So we may have just a one-on-one. We don't want to overwhelm the client too much. I think that's what we did, Ryan, with yours. I was just with her. It might have been another one of us, but it can be overwhelming. So in that situation, just one of us to help her go through things. And then on the hoarder house we're at this week, there's anywhere between 2 and 4 people every day there. So we can come in and knock out things in a short amount of time frame too, if need be. We're based out of Northville. We travel Oakland County, Wayne County, Livingston, Washtenaw, and we don't do too much in Macomb. We will if it's an agent specifically calling. We go to Clinton Township, but we don't advertise that we go out there, but we will do it if y'all want us to go out there. We just charge a travel fee. For the listing prep consultations that I mentioned at the beginning, I do charge a fee for those. They start at $150 and then they go up based off the square footage of the home. I am giving them in the consultation everything that they could possibly do on their own. So that's why I charge for it. And it takes anywhere from an hour and then goes up. Agents find this extremely helpful as part of the listing process and as a listing gift. And so I have gift certificates if you're ever interested, and you can put them in your listing packets or you can give them to your sellers. And it's just one less thing that you have to be, as Marisa said, the bad girl or the bad guy coming in and giving all the recommendations, but also it gives them the whole game plan. It's room by room, outdoors, dining room, family room, move this to the basement, everything detailed, and it's in their own verbiage. What do you call this room? Well, this is Johnny's bedroom, even though Johnny's already moved out of the home, but we still call it Johnny's bedroom. So that they know when they get the email recommendations that those are all the things pertinent to Johnny's bedroom. And then as I'm there, I'm saying, okay, well, yeah, if you'd like our help to do all these things, I think it's going to take us 20 hours. And then they can decide if they want to hire us or not. I have some clients who include our services as a listing gift. I have some agents that do as little as 3 hours as our minimum, and I have some that say, I'm just going to give you $1,000 of Tidy Smart services, and then they can do with it what they want, how much ever help they want. Whether it is doing the decluttering, the staging, our staging or packing or unpacking, our occupied staging packages where we use the towels and that type of stuff that I was mentioning, they start at $250. So pretty reasonable investment in the listing just to help them get a roll on things in the future.
I have a question. So obviously, we're turning it on you to be the bad guy, right? But even when hiring for that client, it was hard for me to have the conversation to call you. Mm-hmm. It's a very sensitive topic, and at the end of the day, she thought her house was fine. Mm-hmm. So what do you recommend as like
how to ease us in?
Yeah,
right. To Tidy Smart.
Yeah, we've had some agents lately have been having a little bit more pushback, and so I asked him, how did you finally get me in the door? Mm-hmm. And he finally said, because I kind of told him he just said, I told him she's coming. Like, this is just part of my process. She's going to come. It's only recommendations. And this is, so like I said before, I'm the buyer, and I'm talking about all the things that the buyer's talking about with you, but they're not going to go back and tell the selling agent all the details of the things that turn them off on the house. So let's go ahead and talk about those things now. It's just recommendations. They don't have to do anything. They can do all of it. They can do nothing. They can do in between. So my recommendation is to say, it's just a conversation. It's just like someone kind of coming out and giving you a moving quote or to talk about interior decorating. And so it's just one way that we're trying to elevate your property. One way we're trying to just make the sale as easy as possible and quick as possible.
Yeah, and I think that goes a little bit easier too if they're not paying for it. Like if we're offering it as
Yes.
a service and paying for it.
Yes, and that's what we say, I'm going to pay for it to come in. And I always recommend on the first one we go through, come with me, come walk, let's come with me. Then you can hear how it goes. You can hear what the questions the sellers are asking. So anytime, you're always welcome to come.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all for your time today. Thank you. Very nice meeting you all. Thank you. And I saw Natalie pop in for a second. I don't know where she went.
Yeah, she's still there.
Oh, okay.
I caught them all on video.
Okay, I was saying, I just want to see the Zoomers' faces, that's all.
Yeah,
So.
mine came on too.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you, everybody.